What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm once again joined by Tyler, and we are back for our Pirates of the Caribbean Community Series, a community series that airs every other Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time here on the channel. We are going to be talking about another Pirates 6 topic. We had said, 2 weeks ago that over this next big stretch of time, kind of indefinite time, we're going to be going over Pirates 6 topics, theories, a lot of discussion stuff. That's what you guys wanted to see. We have a couple ideas on the back burner of us, so we're going to get to as many of those, and then we're going to get to topics such as prequels, such as TV shows. I know Tyler and I have had ideas of that kind of stuff as well, so we're going to get to all of that over the future as we kind of just await Pirates 6 being announced eventually, or any rumors to drop, and when that does happen, we will be right there to cover it and give our analysis and our thoughts. So again, if there's anything you ever want us to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean related, leave in the comments below, and we will definitely circle back to get to anything that we haven't gotten to already, any of your topics. So we talked about this a little while ago, quite a while ago, I think like October, and we talked about will Elizabeth return in Pirates 6. Now we want to make it clear, the title is Should Elizabeth Return in Pirates 6? So it's a little bit different, but we are honestly going to look at this from a different light. We talked basically a yes or no in terms of will Elizabeth show up in Pirates 6, and we basically ended up coming down to yes, like she will be in it. The question today is, should she? So we're going to kind of revisit what we said. Should she return in Pirates 6? How would they use her, and why do we believe, and Tyler and I kind of talked about this off camera a little bit, and we actually have a little bit different opinions of this, so we're going to go back and forth and kind of plead our cases and say if we believe that she should be in it or not. So Tyler, take it away.
Well, I will say that she should be in Pirates of the Caribbean 6, but I keep going back and forth in my head. I feel like she should not be in the movie very long, only because I feel like, even though it would be cool to have her back and then explore the Pirate Lord thing and do similar stuff to what I said in the Will She Return, for Henry to see, what his mother is really like. She doesn't just make food. She doesn't just make him food. She's actually a Pirate Lord, and she's a really good fighter, and she actually does stuff. She's arguably better at fighting than her husband, Will. She's really good if you watch her. But so, that would be cool, and that should be in the movie. I don't want her to be in it very long. And I think the main reason is I don't want to have too many characters. It would almost be impossible, unless they were doing like separate adventures, but then you're jumping all over the place, and I don't know if Pirates of the Caribbean can do that very well. I don't think many people can, actually, because then you'd obviously have Jack. No longer have Barbossa, spoilers. So you'd have Jack, you'd no longer have Barbossa, obviously. You would have Will, you'd have Elizabeth, Henry, Karina, and then all of Jack's crew. But when you're looking at like the female lead or side characters, whatever, however you want to talk about those characters, Henry, Will, Elizabeth, Karina, it's just like, and Jack, like it's just too many. So I feel like, although you can totally replace Barbossa with Will, that's fine to have Jack and Will and Henry and Karina, or even Jack and Elizabeth and Henry and Karina. You cannot have all of them. So unless there was a way to take one of them out, but I feel like you can do more with Orlando Bloom and Will Turner's character than you can with Elizabeth's character. So the one that makes sense to me to have them not in the movie very much is Elizabeth.
Yeah, so, I think it basically comes down to a couple things in terms of, so will she be in it? Yes, I think, we've talked about that before. When it comes to should she, I don't really think there's a choice in terms of, like, how I'm thinking that I feel, and we've talked about the way we kind of think Pirates 6's story will go, and we're definitely going to obviously get back into that eventually and talk about when it actually gets announced what the story is, but, the kind of way we picture the story going is definitely bringing Will back, right, and having Will become a main character once again. Like Tyler said, having him kind of replace Barbossa in a way. Barbossa is a very unique character, one of our favorite characters, if not our favorite. But Will definitely brings a lot to the table. And, from the talks they've had with Orlando Bloom and what he said, it very much seems like it's going to happen where when they make 6, he will be a main character, and that will kind of be his final movie too. when you do that, I feel like the way they left off Pirates 5, you will need to have Elizabeth in the movie at some point, probably in just the beginning. Because Will would just be with her, however the setup would be, whatever they would do with Jack, whatever they do with Henry or Karina, whatever's going on with Davy Jones, whatever's going on with Will's mind, Elizabeth would be there just because that's the circumstance the movie kind of left on. Now, the movie is no stranger to changing things that don't need to be changed, but I feel like that's definitely how it would pick up. So I think just by literally telling the story, Elizabeth would appear. When it goes past that, it's very much how the movie and how the director wants to do it. If you want her to be in it, you need to give her something to do. I definitely agree with that. I don't want characters, and we've been saying that a while. We don't want characters that are just there. We talked about Pintel and Righetti 2 weeks ago. If they're there, and I said this too, if they're there, I don't want them as cameos. I want them doing things. I want them as part of the crew. I want them as pretty high secondary characters. I want them higher than like Scrum and pretty equal to, if not more than even Gibbs. And so when it comes to Elizabeth, it's basically the same thing. Pirates 5 had a lot of things going into it where, maybe it is the final movie. We don't really know. A lot of things were said about that. And, we got the teaser. We knew Elizabeth was going to be in it. It was okay for how they did it. It was okay to bring her back, kind of bring back the Pirates of the Caribbean family at the end. But it's the same situation with her as it is with Pintel and Righetti. If she's in 6, I would want her to do something. So I guess just my instinct there is that if she's there, I want her to actually be a part of the story. I want her character to do something. I don't think that's impossible to give her something to do. I think they could definitely figure that out. There would be a lot of characters. It could be Jack's last movie, Johnny Depp as Jack. You have to give Henry and Karina more time. There would be a villain. Davy Jones is in it somehow, so they would have a lot of stuff they'd have to balance. And bringing back Elizabeth, if Keira Knightley even wants to be in it majorly, we know Orlando Bloom wants to be in it as a main character. We don't know if Keira Knightley would want to come back as a cameo or one line or one scene or as a main character. It would work if she came back, and we talked about that in the last video. Having her relate to Karina and having her talk to Henry and all that stuff and being with Jack again, there's a lot of really, really nice moments that Pirates 6 could have that could go down as some of the best moments in Pirates of the Caribbean history if she's back. But they would have to do it right. They have to do it right. And when I say it like that, I do tend to agree with Tyler. It very much depends on how much you trust them and trust them to handle her character. But if she's going to be in it, will she be in it? Yes. Which then makes my answer for should she be in it also a yes.
The last thing I'll say is that if Pirates 6 is the final Jack Sparrow Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which I think it might be, unless they wanted to try to do 7, but the rate that they put these movies out, Pirates 6 will come out in about 2037. So I don't know if they'll have a Pirates 7 with Johnny Depp. So seeing that this probably would be the final Jack Sparrow movie, and that basically now the way that they have had the movies, there's only one movie, and it's the one that they've literally erased from the timeline, whether you like it or not, freak people who like Pirates 4. Basically, Will and Elizabeth are in every single movie, other than the one that they literally erased, like I just said. So you pretty much need to do your best to try to get her in the 6th movie, but it would actually make sense because you're trying to wrap up the entire Pirates of the Caribbean storyline, but then let Henry and Karina, which is the offspring, well, Henry is of Will and Elizabeth, to set them off on a different new adventure. But you already have them basically in the 5 movies or the 4 other movies. You have them you're gonna have them in the final one. You have to. Why would you have 1, 2, 3, not 4, which is erased, 5, and then not 6? Or, how can you have Will in 6, which obviously they are, and Davy Jones somehow, but then you're not going to have Elizabeth? Would she die between the after-credit scene? And so you have to. So it's just a matter of how much is she going to be in it. But, think of it like that. This is the final outing, and this is the conclusion for all of these characters except for Henry and Karina. It may be, some of the crew with Jack. Other than that, the Black Pearl can stay and all that stuff. But other than that, for everybody else, this is the final outing. So I guess when you think of it that way, then she should be in the movie. and she should do quite a bit. But it would I don't know, because you need, it's tough because you got to set up the new characters for like a new adventure and like show that they can do it. But then you also have to have Will and Elizabeth and even Jack do like the coolest stuff that they've ever done. And defeat whatever the villain is, which also has to be like one of the best villains they've ever had. Wrap up the whole Davy Jones thing, like why is he back and all that. They have a lot of work to do, and I think the funny thing about it is that the hardest part of the movie would be how do we use Elizabeth. That I actually think that. I guess it would be cool to see what you guys think, like how they can go about it or something like that, because I do think she'd be the hardest thing for them to write, honestly, in a final Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
All right, so let us know in the comments below, just as Tyler said, what do you guys think about this topic? And if there's anything else you want us to talk about regarding Pirates 6, leave in the comments, and we will, circle back. Also, if there's anything you want us to talk about in general. Again, these videos come out every other Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now, and we will see you guys for the next video in 2 weeks.